I'm someone who really likes to sort things out directly. If I have a problem, I will tell you directly. Because it's not a part of the culture here, it can lead to resentment. What is considered masculine and attractive in males is very different than what is considered masculine and attractive in males in the West. Almost as if everyone is sharing the same closet. K-pop idols and Korean actors are advertised everywhere. Hey everyone, it's Nikki. Today I'm going to be talking about some big culture shocks and some cultural differences I experienced when I moved to Korea. So I'm going to begin with a commonly talked about and controversial topic, which is the importance of physical appearance here in Korea. On resumes here, you have to include a picture of yourself. And people will openly discriminate based on looks here. So being good looking gives you an advantage both romantically and professionally in your career here. So perhaps it's not surprising then that plastic surgery is so big here. And photoshopping pictures. If you go in to get a passport photo or a photo done for a resume, they will Photoshop you.
Director Ryan, hi, I've been waiting for you.
Let me see the pictures first. Then we should decide whether it's worth saying hello.
Try me.
And when you go around here in Korea, you will see lots of advertisements for plastic surgery clinics, and there are tons of dermatology and plastic surgery clinics everywhere you go here in Seoul. If you are into K-pop or K-dramas, then you will know the majority of stars have had some sort of procedures done. I don't think plastic surgery is really stigmatized here, and especially it's not stigmatized on the level it is in the States. There's also this mindset here of hard work, so the mindset here is very different from the US. So let me know if you agree with this or not, but from my perspective, in the US, generally people like to naturally be good at things. You're naturally good at something, or you've naturally achieved things, whereas in Korea everything is about working hard. So people will work hard to look good, so they'll go and get surgery done. They'll put a lot of effort into the way they look, which can be a good or bad thing. And also in work life, people work really hard, and this can lead to toxic work environments. Koreans sometimes call Korea Hell Joseon, and part of the reason is because of that toxic work culture that exists here. People are overworked, people are sometimes not paid for working insanely long hours. On the subject of mindset, one big cultural difference that I experienced here was that people will not openly confront you. I'm someone who really likes to sort things out directly. If I have a problem, I will tell you directly. However, I learned here that you should not really do this in the professional environment. Because it's not a part of the culture here, it can lead to resentment by others, and people will tell you things indirectly. For example, if one of my coworkers wants me to dress up on a certain day, they won't say, "Oh hey Nicole, just dress really nicely that day because it's important to dress up on that day." It'll more be like, "You know, on that day I always dress up really well," and people really pay attention to how one dresses on that day. So it will be implying you need to dress well that day, but it won't directly be saying that. And this goes for all sorts of issues in the office. It also is something people do in their personal lives here as well. If you watch Foreigners in Korea, you may have heard about ghosting. Ghosting is something that happens in romantic relationships here pretty often, And it's not like, oh, I went on a few dates and the guy ghosted kind of thing. It's like, I've heard people dating for months and even years and being ghosted instead of having a direct breakup.
What? Bro, I'm out, man.
But anyway, this all kind of ties back to not being confrontational, saving face, and this sort of thing. And on a related note, there is a big culture of respect here. As you might know, there is a strict hierarchy in Korea, which has its pros and cons. But right now I'm just going to talk about the pros. When you greet someone, generally you bow to them. And there are different types of bows depending on who you are greeting. And actually, I had reverse culture shock when I went back to visit the US because I would bow, and I don't know, it kind of just makes sense to bow. Once you get in the habit of it, it's very hard to break that habit. And I think it's really polite. I do like the culture of bowing and the general culture of respect here in Korea. Also, I have visited quite a lot of European countries, and of course I'm from the US. I lived in the US for pretty much all of my life up until I moved to Korea. I would say that generally people are a lot more polite here than they are in the West. Also, when you are polite and say thank you or sorry, people treat you well, whereas I feel like sometimes in the US, when you're very polite, people view it as a weakness and they will treat you worse. If you live in the West, let me know your opinion about this below, because I'm interested to hear if you agree with my perspective. So another mindset difference is in Korea, it is a collectivist culture, whereas the West in general is individualistic. So this affects a lot of different areas of life, but I will just talk about one small area that it affects, which is dress. So when you go out, you will notice that everyone is dressed very similar to each other. It looks almost as if everyone is sharing the same closet. And there also people wear a lot of neutral colors. Whenever something's trendy, you'll see a lot of people wearing the same kind of thing, whatever the trend is. And you won't see people wearing a lot of bright, bold colors. So everyone tries to wear things to fit in and to blend in with everyone around them, which I think is very different from the US. People like having their own style, and usually people don't purposely shy away from bright colors or bold colors. So if you come here and you go out and you wear something bright and colorful, you will probably get a lot of looks. I mean, you'll probably get a lot of looks anyway if you're a foreigner who's not Asian here, because you're gonna stand out. But you will stand out even more if you're wearing some bold, bright colors. On that note, people dress very well here and put a lot of effort into the way they look. So when I first moved here, that was kind of hard because there are some days where I just want to wear sweats and a t-shirt and go out, and that'd be fine. But over time, I've really grown to like how much effort people put into their dress, because I can also put a lot of effort into the way I dress, and I never feel overdressed when I go out because there's a lot of other people that are wearing nice clothing and look really put together. I also like the fact that both men and women put effort into the way that they look. So if you watch K-pop or K-dramas, you probably have noticed that what is considered masculine and attractive in males is very different than what is considered masculine and attractive in males in the West. So over here, it is pretty normal for guys to have skincare routines and to wear nice clothing when they go out. And to be honest, in my opinion, this is really refreshing because as a woman, you have a lot of pressure to put effort into the way that you look. So it is nice when men also have that pressure to put effort into the way that they look. And of course, when people put effort into the way that they look, they do end up looking better if they're taking care of their skin, if they're choosing nice clothing to wear. So that's definitely a pro in my opinion. So before I moved to Korea, I wasn't super into K-pop. I did listen to Big Bang and I was a fan of GD. However, I didn't listen to that many K-pop groups. I did get into K-dramas before I moved here, but I didn't really know how big K-pop and K-dramas would be in Korea. I thought, yeah, some people would watch them, but I didn't really know how big they were in general here. But wow, it was a big culture shock when I moved here because K-pop idols and Korean actors are advertised everywhere. They're advertised on the subway, on buses, on YouTube, just when the ads pop up, and I assume on Korean television, though I don't have TV programs in my apartment. Korean entertainment is huge here, and it's its own thing. Like, Koreans generally consume Korean entertainment first, and the outside media, such as American movies and TV, that is definitely secondary. And, you know, Americans often have this idea that everyone in the world knows American actors, actresses, and American singers. But my students do not know American singers, and I would assume they don't know American actors either. I've showed them, I introduced, I think, Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift, and almost none of my students knew who they were. Yeah, they don't listen to American pop music or American music in general. They listen to Korean music. So they will not know the singers that you know. So yeah, if you were wondering, K-pop and K-drama is huge over here. Yeah, so when I moved here, my students were huge into BTS. And their passion for BTS got me interested in BTS. And I became even more interested in BTS when I got to learn more about their personalities. And also, now we have the plastic guards in the classroom because of you know what. And a lot of students will put pictures of Korean idols on the plastic barriers that they have up. So I haven't visited the US in 2 years now because of you know what. But I imagine there's going to be a lot of reverse culture shock when I go back to the US. I'm very used to life here now. And I think there's a lot of cultural differences I have not mentioned in this video. So if you're interested to see another video about cultural differences, let me know in the comments below. And what cultural differences did you find surprising? Let me know below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and check out some of my other videos. And please consider subscribing because I live in Korea and I do content about Korea and learning Korean. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!